All right, we're out here at the motorcade. We're about to do the Juneteenth motorcade, y'all. My name is Terrence Taylor with Community Development Sustainable Solutions. I'm standing here, right here, with no other than the president of the NAACP right here, right now, Mr. Stan Franklin.
Yes, my name is Stanley Franklin. I represent the East St. Louis branch NAACP. I am excited to be a part of this Juneteenth celebration. I'm here at 89th and State Street on the outer road in terms of lining up and getting ready to be a part of the motorcade this morning. So I'm here and excited and just looking forward to an excellent event.
All right. And we're happy to have you, my brother. We're happy to have you. I'm glad you called me, man. Thank you so much.
Ray Lenzi. I left a message on your phone at one time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad to finally meet you.
Absolutely.
I know some people in Southern Illinois that know you.
We're online, Ray.
Oh, yeah.
We're online. We're on live right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm also here with Ray Lenzi. He's the Democratic primary winner for Congress right here. My brother, I'm glad that you called so that you could be a part of Juneteenth. And can you tell me why you decided to be a part?
First of all, let me just say Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
It was a glorious day. Can you imagine those people in Galveston?
Woo!
How they felt at that moment?
Oh.
So that was a big step forward. And we've had some other steps forward in American history, but we've also had steps backward, like we have had for the last 3.5 years. Absolutely. Under the Trump administration. Absolutely. So we say, we the people stand with the majority of people for jobs for everybody, for green energy. I would like to see a big demonstration project in a lot of the open property that we have in East St. Louis with jobs for young people, with full employment. Because right now, with the depression that we're in because of the coronavirus crisis, the economy have been brought to its knees, and we need to move the country forward on climate change, on jobs for the community, on the Black Lives Matter issues in terms of 21st century policing justice. All of those issues are issues that we have to move forward, not backward. So we say it's we the people. We say it's time to retire Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, and Mike Boss.
All right, and we're also, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that, my brother. Yes, sir. That's the Corona bump, y'all, for those who don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, hey, Ray is a great guy. During the election, this guy went to, where was that, Iowa with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Iowa, man, did some great campaigning up there. But I tell you what, Juneteenth today is going to be an awesome day. Today we're going to make history. We're going to raise the Juneteenth flag for the first time in the state of Illinois and here in the city of East St. Louis. And today I have our clerk here, our city clerk, Mrs. Deborah Hamilton. So I'd like for Mrs. Deborah Hamilton to speak on how she feels about a great holiday like Juneteenth.
And the census. Good morning. It's going to be a wonderful day. We're looking forward to celebrating this day from now and forever. We hope that everybody will understand what's going on, and please don't forget 2020 census.
Juneteenth. Come and celebrate with us. Community Development Sustainable Solutions. We are for East St. Louis. We are our change. Come and celebrate with us. We're here at 89th State. We're going to go all 89 blocks, all the way down to City Hall. Come join us. Come celebrate with us. Juneteenth! 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 Yes, all things Juneteenth! All things Juneteenth! Now, without further ado, I got a guy that's been with us with Juneteenth. He's been the Grand Marshal of Juneteenth, and this year, he don't know it yet, but I'm electing him as Grand Marshal again this year. So I'd love for him to speak. He's also our township supervisor. This is Mr. Alvin Parks.
All right!
Hey. Good morning. So glad to be here celebrating Juneteenth, where the blacks in this country got freedom.
Hello.
Freedom to do the things that we need to do and to help live the American dream and to help carry out the American dream. I'm so glad that we have the Juneteenth Committee here in East St. Louis still functioning. We've got to do it differently this year. Most of us are wearing masks today.
Yes.
But I'm taking it down for the camera for just a second to make sure if you see us along State Street today, come on out, be a part of it, help celebrate the freedoms that we now enjoy.
Tell Trump to sign that bill.
Yes, and tell our president to sign the bill and to make sure we continue to specify that Black lives do matter.
Hello.
Black lives matter.
All right.
And it is a great day that we're celebrating Juneteenth here in East St. Louis. So glad you're doing it, Mr. Taylor.
Hey, man.
So glad you're doing it, Mr. Good.
Round of applause. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. We wouldn't stop for the world.
We're here with you 100%.
Absolutely. We've been doing this now for about 7 years, and Stephanie had to drag me along kicking and screaming. But I tell you what, I'm glad she did, because a lot of times we get dragged through our own success and we don't even know it till we get there.
4 more states to go.
4 more states to go, and Juneteenth is a national holiday.
We got over 240 signatures right now on the petition across the United States. So let's go, America. Let's make it happen.
240,000. 1,000. Yes. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Come celebrate with us.
Happy Juneteenth.
Start now.
Conocen.
Used to spend my nights out in the ballroom. It was the only love I ever known. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom and brought me back.
Start today. A celebration of freedom. Happy Juneteenth. Let's celebrate. Let's eat. Let's enjoy. And gloves, we got them over here. If you need some masks and gloves, we got them over here. We got hot dogs and sodas. We got water over here. Juneteenth, a celebration of freedom. Our 155th anniversary. Lady Nan on the ones and twos. Yes, yes. Community Development Sustainable Solutions for East St. Louis. My name is Kevin Taylor. I am the little brother of Terrence Taylor. Here to enjoy and celebrate with all of you guys.
There's rich history in this country because of our contributions to the building of these United States. We wouldn't dare go away from the red, white, and blue. So what you will see going up on the flag is a bursting star rising over the horizon because we are a new people in a new land with a new freedom. So let us watch as our flag that represents us in 155 years of freedom as it goes up the pole and we take time to reflect 155 years past, present, and future. God bless America. All lives do matter.
Black lives.
number 3. East St. Louis Police Chief Perry, as he takes that walk, just as General Granger did, right through a field of people who had no idea that today was the day. Today is the faithful day on June 19th, when in marched General Granger to the front to say some words that they didn't even believe could be possible. And here comes our very own East St. Louis Police Chief. Thank you, sir. Tell us what we can't believe.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm Police Chief Kendall Perry with the City of East St. Louis Police Department. I'm here to recite the General Order number 3.
All right.
The people are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection herefore existing between them become that between employer and hired laborer. The freed are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages. They're informed that they will not be allowed to collect any military posts, and they will not support the idleness either or there or elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very, very much. Now we're going to have a word from our very own McDonald's representative, mogul, big boss, big baller, shot caller. And if you don't know, Mr. Williams here, his father was the first black mayor of East St. Louis. Who else could we have speak today with as much tenacity than Mr. Williams? Thank you for gracing us today, sir.
Hello, East St. Louis. To our mayor, city council, certainly to our police and fire chief and all the other officials here today, to my family, East St. Louis. You know what? The proudest moment of my business life was when I bought that restaurant on 25th and State Street. I am so very proud to be an East St. Louis resident, and you know, each and every day I think about what I can do to uphold those standards that all those who served before us have done. So just a few words. I had to put these words together last night. Yes, Juneteenth celebrates the end of U.S. slavery, but there's another meaning to Juneteenth. It symbolizes the start of a long walk toward equal justice. The emancipated slaves had miles to walk on the road toward equality. As Americans, we're still on that journey. My father was the first black mayor of East St. Louis. He walked along that social justice journey. He understood the pain of protesters like those on the streets today. He had a large poster in his mayoral office with a credo on it. The principles behind this credo helped me to purchase the East St. Louis McDonald's, again, the proudest moment of my business life. The store is located right down the street from where I grew up. My mother and family members were there for the opening. The credo reads, "We shall succeed." Why? Because God is with us. We owe success to ourselves, to our past, and to those like us who will inherit the foundation we now lay. This means three things. One, never give up. The emancipated slaves never gave up.
That's right.
They had dark times, but they kept the faith. They wanted the next generation to see a better day. Number two, it takes sacrifice to reach any worthwhile goal. We must go the extra mile, whether in politics, education, or business. The extraordinary manifests only when we do the extra. To reach a goal, sometimes we have to give up some things. A life of convenience means a life of no progress. Our ancestors understood this. They understood the principle of sacrifice. Third, the principle of humility. Humility means being grateful, respecting our elders, giving honor where honor is due. I am grateful for these attributes that I learned from my father and others growing up here in East St. Louis. These principles led to my ownership of the McDonald's with 65 employees. It means we have the opportunity to give back to our communities in everything from jobs to supportive projects to sometimes just a cup of coffee. We're not leaving. We're here to stay. Juneteenth means that we have miles to walk, but our ancestors have left us the roadmap. Thank you very much, East St. Louis.
Thank you so much. And that's what it is, you know, hard work and determination can get us where we want to be in life. And that's the truth. So again, today is so very important, and we stand on the crux of trying to figure out, what do we do with the police? What do we do in our state to really see an equitable distribution of funding? How do we ensure that no one else ends up with a knee on their neck? It's 155 years that we reflect upon today. People have gone to the moon. We can play virtual video games, but can we find a way to make sure that areas like East St. Louis and other underserved communities can get an equitable cut of resources? That's what we need to know. Now, I do want to make mention now that I would like to hear from our Pastor Patterson. Pastor Patterson is our UCM, which is United Congregations Metro East. So not only is she a pastor, but she's our regional president when it comes to advocating for change. And I would like you to start explaining who Gamaliel is, because people need to understand Gamaliel.
Hello, everybody. You know, I never start a speech without prayer, but I have to have a chant first, because it seems like you're getting hot and you'll get bored. But this chant says, no justice, no peace. Listen, no justice, you say no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Hallelujah. Amen. God bless us today. Because while the law says we are emancipated, that's what the law says. It's on the books. That's right. That's right. 13th Amendment says we have been free. Woo. That's what the book says. But in reality, we're living in virtuality on the net now. But in reality, we have not been emancipated. We have not been delivered. If we had been delivered, our children would have equal opportunities in education. If we have been delivered, our old people wouldn't have to be serviced by people making minimum wage and below minimum wage. I thank the Lord for McDonald's. I love that man. My daughter used to work at McDonald's. But we need $15 an hour. The people who work at McDonald's don't make enough money to live off of. We need some more money. We advocate for justice right now. And I want you all to listen to this plainly. There's a bill going forth for broadband across the southern Illinois, so that our children wouldn't be bailing this spring because they don't have access to the internet. We've already seen the governor, and we've already started a bill in the Senate so that everybody across the state can have access to broadband Just like you got water. Just like you got electricity. Just like you got telephone. Because the children need to be educated in a pandemic. It's not enough to give good words. It's not enough to just have it on the books, but it has to be in practice. I am a pastor, and you can legislate justice, but you can't legislate love. Church, you're responsible for the love part. People, you're responsible for the justice part. Go to the polls and vote. Change this system that tries to bring us as a people down. I'm advocating for justice at the bank. How many of you on the board of your bank? Talk to me. I want to see hands. They got a board.
Yeah, they got one.
But you're not on that board. So you can't make determinations about who get loans. If you're not on the board of the bank, you need to pull your money. Black lives matter. But black money matters too.
That's right, baby. Talk about it.
July 1 through July 7, fast the dollar store. Fast the fast food place. Fast the Walmart. Fast the place where you go get that expensive coffee. I don't go there. Don't go there with your money. Show them that black money matters. I love protest. I love marching. But just march yourself right at home and stay another 7 days. Let me pray.
All right.
Righteous God, we thank you because you kept blood running warm in our veins. We thank you that while our grandparents and our great-grandparents suffered to build this country in the cotton fields of the South and in the coal mines of the North, we thank you. They built railroads and bridges and laid brick and they toiled without pay. We thank you for allowing us to have an opportunity to train our children that you don't have to live like this anymore just because of the color of your skin and the texture of your hair. We thank you, oh God, and we bless you. But we got a petition before you, Lord. Well, Pharaoh Trump says, why should I let this people go from serving me? You have the authority to deliver. You have the power to say, let my people go. Least worse things will come upon you. We pray, oh God, that you deliver every soul that hungers for you and hungers after righteousness. Now bless this day and bless those people, Stephanie and Terrence and Glenn, that sponsored this event so that your word goes forth. We love you, we praise you, we honor you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Woo. UCM. UCM. Okay, now you guys, when we're talking about equity and how do we get it, and how do we get our municipality, our state, our country to acknowledge that we need change. A lot of you saw some of those Facebook posts going around talking about East St. Louis and Belleville and a long-standing riot that was going on between the two, a feud about not getting along and all of the above. Times are changing. It's up to us to enforce that change. But today, I'm very, very happy to say that we have a member of the St. Clair County Board here today to present a proclamation. And that means a lot if you watch history. So without further ado, I'm going to call up our St. Clair County board member, Roy Mosley Jr., and I'm so happy to see you today, and Lonnie Mosley. Both of them are our St. Clair County board members. Happy to see you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to be here as we celebrate Juneteenth. The county board, along with the chairman, Mark Hearn, we put together a proclamation in commemoration of this day, and I want to take the time to read it to you. And so it reads, County of St. Clair, Proclamation, June 19th, 2020, Juneteenth celebration. Whereas, on January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, setting in motion the end of slavery in the United States. And whereas, the Civil War ended with the surrender of General Lee at the courthouse on April 9, 1865. Whereas the news reached Texas when Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston Bay with Union troops on June 19, 1865, and he announced, "The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free." And whereas the celebration of the end of slavery, which became known as Juneteenth, is the oldest known public celebration of the end of slavery in the United States, commemorating African Americans' freedom and celebrates their successes. And whereas Juneteenth celebrations remind each of us of the promises of freedom, equality, and opportunity that are the core of the American dream. And whereas Community Development Sustainable Solutions, a nonprofit grassroots social advocacy community and economic development agency of community organizers, human service, and social justice agents committed to advancing economic growth in East St. Louis and surrounding communities. And whereas CDSS, as part of this peace initiative, Summers, celebrates Juneteenth as the true African American Independence Day. Whereas CDSS will lead the Juneteenth 2020 celebration in East St. Louis, Illinois, the city of champions, with a motorcade from 89th and State Street to the East St. Louis City Hall, where Juneteenth flag will be raised for the first time across the state of Illinois to commemorate our past, present, and future, and celebrate 155 years since the emancipation of slavery. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the County Board Chairman do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2020 as the day to celebrate Juneteenth throughout St. Clair County and urge all citizens in the celebration. I have unto set my hand a call to seal of St. Clair County to be affixed here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold it up, Terry.
It's amazing. We've done every year, we have talked to every city, every township, every village in Southern Illinois to let them know how important it is to honor our history and move legislation forward. To have this from St. Clair County, I think with that I'm going to bring up Stan Franklin. Thank y'all so much. That's such an honor. Stan Franklin is the head of the East St. Louis NAACP. President, thank you, sir.
I represent the largest and the oldest, the baddest and the boldest, the most feared and the most revered, the most loved and the most hated civil rights organization in the country, the NAACP. To our mayor, Bob Easton, I thought I saw him here. to the police chief, the fire chief, to those political leaders, religious leaders, business leaders, and to all those who are assembled here this afternoon, good afternoon. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Executive Committee and the members of the East St. Louis Branch NAACP. My name is Stanley Franklin. I serve as the president. For a century or so, the NAACP has been on a journey to fulfill its mission. That mission is to ensure the political, education, social, and economic equality for all citizens, to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. We have been on that journey because of the forces that among us in this country that has trying to do everything they can to destroy the civil rights successes. The social and economic challenges we have today are real and not figments of our imagination. The year 2020 has provided an opportunity for the world to see what we have been seeing all along. It provided a clear vision. A clear vision. I was reading an article the other day by a professor out of UCLA, Black History professor, which kind of ties into the theme of this event. Let me just digress a little bit. Let me go by thanking my friend Stephanie and Terrence for inviting me to be a part of this historical occasion. They had the vision 7 years ago, to be able to bring this to our community. I just want to thank them for allowing me to be a part of this historical occasion. All right. Give them a round of applause. Now, I think that some of the people that they mentioned earlier in regards to the 150 years of the emancipation of slavery. 155? Did I say something? 56? Okay, I'm good. Okay, 155. Now, what had happened is that, let me kind of tell a little story. Is that okay? Can I tell a little story? Do I have time to tell a little? Okay. Yes, sir. I know it's hot out here. Yes, sir. But in 1862, the Union Army was losing the Civil War against the Southern Confederate States. President Abraham Lincoln was looking for a way to cripple the Confederate States. So he wrote the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves that were in the Confederate States. And that was on January 1st, 1863. The thinking was that by freeing the slaves, the Confederates wouldn't have enough workers to produce the cotton sold to England. And the Confederates wouldn't have enough money to continue the war. I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln. But the proclamation was more strategic than liberating, since it only applied to the Confederate States. Right. Slavery was still permitted in the border states like Maryland and Delaware and Kentucky and Missouri. Eventually that changed when Congress approved the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery on January the 31st, 1865. Since there were no internet, no cell phones, it took 2.5 years for them to get the message to those blacks that were in Galveston, Texas. Took 2.5 years. Is why we're here today talking about Juneteenth. It took them to 1865, June 19 to 1865. Like the police chief mentioned earlier, General Order Number 3, he came in front of the people and he told them, made it official. And I'm not going to go over that again because you all heard it. That was part of my speech. He stole my speech. Where you at? There was a lot of celebration, a lot of singing, giving praise and thanks to God. Once the general made that executive order in terms of they are free. Juneteenth has become a celebration for black people. It became a celebration for black people in Texas. The tradition slowly spread throughout the migrations to other states like Louisiana, California. Texas declared Juneteenth a legal holiday in 1980. And it was the first state to do so. Juneteenth has been celebrated throughout this as a holiday for decades in the African American communities. Juneteenth is commonly known as Jubilee. Jubilee Day, the Emancipation Day. Terrence, you know about that, right? But that kind of leads us to where we're at today. During the wake of George Floyd and the unrest all over the country, the world began to see a little bit clearer. Maybe because it's 2020. They began to see things that we have seen for years. Police brutality, an unjust criminal justice system, domestic terrorists in the in the African American communities. I'm talking about the unrest that took place that caused all the riots all over the country. And the reason they had those riots, Dr. King stated it beautifully. A riot is the voice of the unheard. It's a voice of the unheard. Now, 150 years later, we have to catch up, which makes the national conversation about racial injustice and inequality so important. Racism is deeply rooted in the American culture. We have to dig a little deeper and deeper until we can get to the roots. Juneteenth is our holiday. We have mastered the arts of turning passion, pain into passion, misery into music. So Juneteenth is the celebration of our freedom, our joy. There's still much work to be done. There's still a long journey ahead of us. Now that our vision is a little bit clearer, let's sign the petition to make Juneteenth a national holiday. Thank you.
Great job, great job. Y'all give my brother, president of the NAACP. Actually, he's one of my mentors, y'all. When I started out, in the working industry, this was actually one of my first employers, Mr. Stan Franklin. And I've always looked up to him and I've always admired you, even if it was from a distance at times, my brother. I appreciate you, man.
It's guys like you in my life and my father that enabled me to be the person that I am today. You know, and then when I think about the reason that me and Stephanie started doing Juneteenth, I get to thinking, man, it's kind of crazy. Because a lot of times I say this now, because when we're dealing with people now, a lot of times we take people in the line of work that I'm in, we take people kicking and screaming through their own success. And they only understand they're successful once we got them there. So I was that process in this event. You know, we got our cultural director, Brother Tracy Johnson. He came to us with this idea. And at the time, all I'm thinking about is, man, you talking about spending some money. No, right? But Stephanie grabbed on to that idea. She said, no. We're going to take this further. So when Tracy Johnson walked off with the money to do the event, yeah, I was a little upset. You see, I'm kicking and screaming, right? Right. But as of right now today, what I want to tell y'all is, because I didn't stop, it wasn't like I just stopped right there. I made sure that we're going to do the best event possible that we could afford to do. So at the time now, what I want to tell y'all about that is that right now, my name is on the state of Illinois' records as a pillar of excellence for the state of Illinois, and that's because of this event.
Woke and thus remembering how far we have come since 1865 and how far we have yet to go. Woke about our human suffering, pain, and the resources we have given to this country. Woke about being resilient and holding steadfast to the hopes and dreams of our forefathers and mothers. Woke about expecting and receiving equality on all levels, jobs, education, health, and housing. And woke that we continue to call names. Trayvon Morgan, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, and the countless others that we have lost. Today is about reflecting and remembering how far we have traveled on this journey and how far we have yet to go to make that change to ensure that there will be no more names to call. In 1863, when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation into law, history tells us that many of our brothers and sisters endured bondage for another 2.5 years until June 19, 1865, before they knew that they were even free. This is so significant. This is so important. That is why we are here today, to remember justice delayed, to remember all we have endured, to seek and secure justice delayed and denied. And so we come today celebrating the courage, the faith, and hope that we have held for 155 years. We come carrying an agenda for change. We come woke and celebrating. We come knowing we have much work yet to do, and to whom is given, much is expected in return. We come with spirits that say we shall transform, we shall embody a hope that is stronger than fear. We come pledging and promising that we will continue the fight for justice, and we will march on until all have awakened and victory is won. Happy Juneteenth. And freedom, right? I also want to say that the Illinois House of Representatives have filed House Bill 3875, which would make Juneteenth a state holiday in the state of Illinois. So thank you. Thank you, Stephanie and Terrence, for always being a champion of Juneteenth. You brought it to the city, Juneteenth. So thank you so much. Thank you all, and God bless.
Before you go, you know what we say we're guilty of doing all the time. Pull it out now, because it represents you, you know. Our state leader. Absolutely. We give it to you because you are a bridge builder and you know how to look at outdated systems. And everyone needs to know, State Representative Greenwood says we're only as strong as the weakest person in our state, and we're lucky to have you fighting for us.
Thank you, and thank you to my sorors who came out to support me. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Lady Nan hooked your cup up, okay? Yeah, your card's in there, Nan. All right, now, we thought it would be fitting right now if you all hear a song by Big Rich. VJ, please come up, sir. He wrote a wonderful song that's indicative to what we're talking about today. So I'm not even going to give you the name. I'm going to let him sing it to you.
How's everyone doing? Happy Juneteenth. Again, my name is BJ Rich. About 2 weeks ago, I wrote this tribute to George Floyd. It's called I Can't Breathe. Hope you enjoy it. I just want to be free. Same as called I Can't Breathe. Rest in peace, George Floyd. To be equal. Trying to let you know that I can't breathe. Whoa. Somebody to help me. Trying to let you know that I can't breathe. I got the weight of the world on the back of my neck. How is it that I'm on this ground? Can't nobody hear me, acting like they don't see me. Don't nobody care about me. Now I'm gasping for air. I feel the wind leaving my soul. Situation's out of control. Somebody help me. I'm trying to let you know that I can't breathe. Whoa, send somebody to help me. I'm trying to let you know that I can't breathe. I got the weight of the world on the back of my neck. See, I woke up today, thought it was gonna be a good day, but anything can go wrong when you're wearing dark brown skin. Now I feel so abused, wrong place at the wrong time. I know my life is on the line, and I'm not gonna make it. I'm just trying to let you know that I can't breathe. Send somebody to help me. So I'm trying to let the whole world know that I can't breathe. I got the weight of the world on the back of my neck. Can you hear me? Said I don't understand. To a good blind man. Oh, gotta be a good reason. Am I the sacrifice? I've been chosen for this mission, and I'm crying, mama, mama. Why are they doing this? It's not supposed to end like this. They can't get away with this. Oh, I believe that's what he was saying. So we gotta tell the story. Oh, I can't breathe. Happy Juneteenth.
first time I heard that and even now. You know, sometimes we just got to take a breath. And we got to think about where we've been and where we're trying to go. And the right that we have equally to get there. We got to do better, America. And it starts with acknowledgement of the day. It starts with a change of the outdated laws. It starts with equitable distribution of resources to our underserved communities that you guys are doing strategically. If in 155 years we can send somebody to the moon, could we try to move forward? I don't want to talk about moving forward. I don't want to talk about a platform of plans. Just say you're going to do it. Yeah. Just do it. So without further ado, I think now's a good time to hear from our candidate, right? Mr. Ray Lenzi, sir. You know me.
I know you, Stephanie. Yeah, I know Stephanie and Terrence. I met them on a bus all the way to Iowa, getting involved in politics way back in January. And some of you also, McDonald's was acknowledged here. We like to say, and hello Kelvin, that we set up our campaign headquarters in McDonald's at 25th and State. And we were able to win enough votes here in St. Clair County and East St. Louis to become the Democratic nominee for Congress. That's right. And I thank you all for your votes and everybody who supported me, and also those who didn't, because I know there was a guy running from here in St. Clair County that that the party supported. But one of the things I believe in is everybody standing together once the primary is over. So I want to start out by acknowledging Stephanie and Terrence and their organization and the city of East St. Louis, City of Champions. And I have from the beginning said that if I am elected for Congress, our main headquarters in the metro area will be in the city of East St. Louis. Now, I have to tell you, I've got some feedback on it. Why would people resist that? These are the most loyal Democratic voters that provide the biggest margin in the whole district of 12 counties, right? So, you know what? People can resist it all they want, but if I am elected, the headquarters of my office will be in the city of East St. Louis for many reasons. One, because they're the most loyal supporters, but also this is the place where there's the greatest need, right? Yeah. And this is the place where there's the greatest neglected need, right? And so you kind of know already what I stand for. But I want to first of all, before I forget, because sometimes my supporters tell me things I should say and I forget to say them. But I want to say that I will support a national holiday for Juneteenth.
That's what we talk about.
And I also want to say that, when we look back at Juneteenth, I mean, today so many people might take it for granted, but some people may not know this, but I'm a big Civil War historian, because it was, as they say, the moral crossroads of our country's history, And people don't realize, maybe somewhere between 600 and 800,000 soldiers lost their lives. That's what it took to destroy slavery. People don't realize that if you took that as a percentage of today's population, we would be talking about 10, 11 million people had to die to drive a stake through the heart of slavery and end it. So change doesn't come easy. And the deeper I get into this campaign, the more clearly I understand that change doesn't come easy. It's a long uphill fight. We have a Republican congressman, Mike Bost, who won't even set foot in East St. Louis, you know, because he doesn't care.
That's right. Say it.
Yes. And so I want to talk just a little bit about, you know, Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. But those Civil War soldiers and Martin Luther King, who gave his life, and all the people that have sacrificed their lives since, they worked at bending the arc of the moral universe. That is our job, to bend the arc of moral universe. We call our campaign We the People, and we stand with the people. We stand with the people of East St. Louis. We stand with all the people who have needs that are unmet all throughout the 12th district. And we say, we the people are the majority, that the people stand with us on health care for all. They stand with us on increasing the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. All the polls show it, but we have to prove it. We have to get registered, we have to vote, and it's going to be a vote by mail campaign, it looks like. And we have to be busy from now till election day to win this election, because we say the times they are a-changing. You know, when you look at what happened after what happened in Minneapolis, something happened that the country didn't know was going to happen. The people stood up all over the country. Even in the rural areas where I come from, some of them are virtually all white counties, there were demonstrations. There were people speaking out. And the times they are a-changing. We say the times they are a-changing. It's time to retire Mike Bost, Mitch McConnell, and Donald Trump. It's time for a big change. So, City of Champions, keep the work up. Let's go and let's win these elections in November. Thank you.
All right, Ray. Everybody give another hand for Ray Lenzi, y'all. Yes. And as Ray was telling you guys, we've taken bus trips all around this place. We've been to, y'all, you were with us as well, weren't you, Maria? Yeah, so, and Ray is a guy that's he's got his boots on the ground, he's in the trenches, he's running for Congress in District 12, so we need to make sure you get elected, Ray.
All right, Ray.
All right. Now, without further ado, we're going to bring up our favorite. Y'all hear my wife, right? We're going to bring up our favorite now. See, this is the ex-mayor. Now he's the township supervisor. And this guy has worked with us. I mean, he's always given us a square deal from the time he stepped in office and the time he allowed us to step in their office and talk to him. So, hey, man, I appreciate you so much, man. I love you, man, like a brother, for real.
Love you too, Darren.
And hey, you come on up here and you tell these people what you got to tell them, man.
Yeah. Everything starts with a thank you. And the first thank you is to Terrence Taylor, Stephanie Bush Taylor, and the rest of the committee who decided years ago to make sure that everyone understands what Juneteenth is, first of all. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor. It continues with the people who have been here to help do the educating. Our president of the NAACP, Stanley W. Franklin. Our state representative, LaToya Greenwood. Pastor Norma Patterson. And all the others who have been here today. The other Mr. Taylor over here. The brother who sang the solo, that was outstanding. Sounding like he's a member of the OJs or somebody. So it starts with a thank you. It continues with you, Ray Lenzi. I appreciate the fight that you're fighting on behalf of the people of the United States of America. I will be very brief because it's been said so eloquently and so clearly. It is wonderful to know that we are now celebrating 155 years of freedom as a black people. in these United States of America. Do I still have sound? But in briefly stating what specifically this day is about, in addition to celebrating the freedom that we now have from slavery, with everything that is going on, coronavirus, and the totally unjust killings of black people across this country. And I have to throw in another one. The killings of blacks by other blacks. Black Lives Matter also when we think about how we preserve our own lives, ladies and gentlemen. But I have to go back and underscore, and Stephanie just drew something out of my heart when I saw her crying for what we've been through recently. When you think about a man with a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds while other policemen were standing by watching that happen, that's astonishingly disgraceful. When you think about a young lady being in her residence, Breonna Taylor, and someone going in, law enforcement going in and just killing her for no reason. When you see another man jogging in Georgia being wrestled to the ground and then being killed by a former law enforcement officer, it is so unfortunate. That's right. Because, as has been stated many times, first of all, as a former mayor who had to lead a police department along with the other departments, it's embarrassing for me, Kelvin, to watch people who were sworn to protect and serve putting knees on people's necks.
That's right, tell it.
And then trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
When does enough become enough? So, as I state what I have to state today, it is to ask, everybody's talking about complete the census form. Right, we definitely need to do that. Make Black Lives Matter. Yes, we need to do that. Yes, we need to register to vote. Yes, we need to mail in our ballots. Yes, we need to show up at the polls in unprecedented numbers. My question is, are you ready to go? Can I say fired up? And have you say ready to go? Fired up? Ready to go. Fired up? Ready to go. Fired up? Ready to go. Let's go. Let's go, City of Champions. God bless you.
All right, all right.
I'm fired up already, and I'm ready to go. Yes, sir. I believe that was the last.
We've got some advocates here.
We have some advocates that would like to speak.
We have some advocates that need to speak.
We have some advocates that need to speak.
Christine or Cindy.
Oh yeah, Moms Demand Action.
We've got Jessica Monsinder.
Jessica
from Indivisible.
Did you guys want to say something about your organization and what you're here for?
And
Lorenzo, I Am East St. Louis, the magazine. Y'all know we done made that magazine about 2-3 times, right? You want to say something? Come on. Come on.
We're going to let I Am East St. Louis go first because we are East St. Louis.
Thank you, Stanley. Love you, baby. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming out today. Thank you, Stephanie and Chance and your organization for continuing to help us move this country forward, you know. And we started I Am East St. Louis, my wife and I, Charmaine Savage. She passed away from breast cancer in 2019. We were married 30 wonderful years, and she left a legacy for all of us to be proud of. And you see it every day in our magazine, on our social media pages. We want to change the narrative because it's always been so negative about our city and the people who live in this city and the people who come from this city. If you look on our webpage, you look at our magazine, you see some diamonds that are out there. represent us all across the world, and they support us as well. So I just want to say thank you for continuing to support us, and say I am intelligent. I am somebody. I am East St. Louis. God bless y'all. Have a great day.
Cindy, come on, baby. Because as a mom, we demand what?
Action! All right, Stephanie knows how much I love to talk to people up here, so I appreciate it, Stephanie. Thank you.
We love you.
We love you too, Stephanie. Thank you so much for doing this and for inviting us. We are just so tickled to be here with you guys again today and participate. Just in case I did, I can't just...
She's ready, see?
All right, I'm going to cut it short because I don't really want to take all your time. But I do want to say that this day, this celebration, Juneteenth, is a jubilee. It is a happy, wonderful day. It's a day for us to reflect on and rejoice in the changes from where we were 400, 200 years ago up to today.
That's right.
Juneteenth is a celebration of the time African Americans realized they were truly free. It is a celebration of change for the betterment of African American lives. And though things are better for African Americans, it is very clear with what's been going on for year after year, that there are still many changes that need to be made, including addressing the problem of police brutality and racial profiling. And I want you to know that my organization, Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense, and Every Town for Gun Safety are here to support communities of color and to work for those changes.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
We do that. We're a gun violence prevention group. That's what we're about. So why are we getting involved in this? And I have to say, I'm going to just say this, with the pandemic and then with this, it's really been hard to focus on the issue of gun violence. That's kind of taken a back seat to things. And that's, I think, how a lot of our members feel. It's like we want to focus on what's going on because that is what's important right now. But as an organization, we are involved in it. We are concerned about it. Number one, of course, it's the right thing to do. But two, there's a definite connection between the systemic racism in our country and the gun violence in our cities. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about gun violence in our cities. Gun homicides are concentrated in cities. Half of all gun homicides took place in just 127 cities. Within these cities, gun homicides are most prevalent in racially segregated neighborhoods with high rates of poverty. Black Americans represent the majority of gun homicide victims. In fact, Black Americans are 10 times more likely than white Americans to die by gun homicide. Valerie Samudis, my wonderful organizing manager with Every Town for Gun Safety, African American mom, and gun owner, explains the connection this way. This was a Facebook post and I wanted to share it with you. She said, gun violence has several different causes, and understanding the reasons why folks, especially Black and brown people, feel the need to own a gun in the first place is important. Some of those reasons may be related to fear, protection, systemic racism, oppression, and the mistrust of the police. Until we get folks to understand the multiple reasons why gun violence is so high and get them to help us demand change in our communities, of our elected officials and in this country, we will continue to lose our loved ones to senseless gun violence. End quote. Black lives matter, and the crisis we face today must be solved through systemic change that includes far-reaching, thoughtful, and evidence-based policies that will work to dismantle systemic racism and inequities, which are the root of police violence. I've got more. There's legislation that we are committed to pass. That's the what is the Justice in Policing Act. We are fully supporting that. That's one of the things we are working on. And I'm not going to say the rest. It's you get it. You get it. It's hot out here. But I do want to say I wore this shirt. It says use your voice. And I wear it for two reasons. One, to remind people that see it, you have a voice. Use it. And you can do that in a lot of different ways. Number one, all the been talked about, but number one, I know Stephanie and Terrence are working very hard on census. Get the census in, complete the census, do that, be counted. Number two, get registered to vote, and then vote. And commit to getting 5 of your friends and neighbors to vote too. Get them to the polls. The other reason I wear this shirt is to remind myself to use my voice. When I see my friends and my families saying things on Facebook or whatever, to not be afraid to enter that uncomfortable conversation with them, that I need to use my voice too. And that's what I pledge to do. Thank you.
Towards looking at some of these reforms in the police department, we're looking to activate you again and get some support with laws as we move to National Night Out, okay? Because that'll be a great opportunity for us to do that. Whoop whoop, Christine. Terrence? Terry?
Hey, Terrence. He was example of excellence in Illinois.
Oh, pillars of
But is Stephanie also? Oh, you just said you.
Oh, well.
So,
see?
all right. See, I got your back, baby.
Thank you. Yeah. Right. See, that's why we roll with her. See, she gets the facts straight. Now I'm going to call up my powerful little friend here, Miss Jessica, and the Indivisible group, because this is the group, along with Sheila. There she goes, pumping her fist. This is how we turn our blue waves in the state of Illinois. This is how we keep our blue waves going. So tell them about that.
Hello, my name is Jessica Motzinger with Indivisible Metro East. And some of our co-leaders up here with me. First of all, thank you for having us here. Juneteenth is Independence Day. If anyone knows Texas, they know they are usually the last to change on just about anything. So if you can imagine when that order was read and they realized they were free, they were the last ones to know. So, you know what? Let's make noise loud enough that they hear us from Galveston all the way to South Africa, all the way to Germany and everywhere else.
Like it is, sister.
Happy Juneteenth, and we will get this a federal holiday, and it will be recognized because Black lives do matter. And on top of that, what we are doing to try to help ensure a more perfect union where our liberties, all of our liberties and our freedoms are recognized, we are pushing voter registration and vote by mail. This will even include our county prisons, and as far as we can go, anyone who is eligible to vote, we need to get them to vote. This is the time to do it. Our democracy is at stake. We see what is happening. We cannot take 4 more years of the Trumpito in the office. So, yes, or groping Führer, but we need to keep this legit because this is an honored day and it's recognized, and we're just here as allies. So please get out there, vote, support your other activists and allies, and together we're going to win.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. You're so beautiful. All right, now, did I get everyone? Is there anyone else that has anything to say today? Because other than that, we will go ahead and wrap up today's ceremony. Huh? Uh-oh, wait a minute now. We got Miss International Ambassador. What? Girl, watch out. We international now, baby.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jashira Bolden, and I am the reigning Miss Black International Ambassador So yes, I have a big crown that I wear. I am most importantly from East St. Louis, Illinois. And I am the youngest and the first from Illinois, period, to win this title, so that's pretty big. Originally, I was Miss Black Illinois U.S. Ambassador, so I have held a couple titles, which is fantastic. So today, I'm bringing on another passion. I know you've probably seen it on Facebook. I am the organizer of Silence the Hate, and we're about 3 weeks old. Our mission is to advocate on behalf of the Black community, eliminate white supremacy, and eliminate police brutality, period. Tonight we're holding a solidarity march at 6 p.m. on 25th Street, and I would love for you all to come. And then following that, there will be a voter registration. So if you could just bring the youth out, come out and support, that'd be great, because it's time to silence the hate. Thank you guys.
We love you, and together we rise. Thank you for representing us with style and grace. Go ahead, strut it on down. Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming out today. One last thing, if you could give our DJ, Lady Nan, a round of applause, we would appreciate that. You came and did that today, ma'am. And CDSS team, we love you for loving your community. And community, we love you. And we serve you. Together we rise. Freedom!